Hello, this is weeks 11 and 12. I'm Dave.
I'm Ed.
And week 11 we reassigned the informative speech, and the students seemed to like that idea. They went with it. We went over what went wrong, what went right. In week 12 we allowed them to rework some of the things and rewrite their speech, send us video. But I think what we're learning as instructors in a flipped classroom, it's not so much about the students, it's a lot about us.
Yes.
And how we're adjusting to it.
Yes. It's a couple of things. It's the students and it's us. But what's interesting is I sat and listened to Dave very specifically talk about when things were due. I saw the students writing down this information, and somehow the students, a smaller number than we would like, actually turned in their videos, and some were even unclear as to what work was to be done out of class and what work was to be done in class. And we've come to the conclusion that while we may, as instructors, like the idea of the flipped classroom, and while the students as millennial learners might be quote-unquote ready for the flipped classroom in principle, they don't necessarily have the time management skills. A lot of them don't have the time management skills required to do the work outside of class, and that's what we've decided to address as instructors for the next assignment.
Yeah, coming up, after the informative speech, we'll have them do persuasives for the last 2.5 weeks. And I think we already put in a really rigid schedule, step by step by step, here's what to do at this date and this time. So I think that will work out for both sides of us here.
Right. For instance, instead of just telling them, okay, you need to go and use the class time when you would have normally been in this class to prepare your speech, now we're saying we're creating a document that we're going to give to them in their hands, a written schedule for the work that they're to be doing outside of class. So we tell them, for instance, we want you to be actively researching and writing your speech on Monday from 12:30 to 1:45, which is in fact the time that they would have been in class. And we're telling them that something is due at the end of that time period. So basically we're breaking everything down into a rigid schedule, and we're giving them a tool for time management, and the hope is that eventually this is something that would be incorporated into our flipped classes in the future.
And I think also, I was looking at it from a technological standpoint too, because like, for example, in Blackboard, you know this and I know it as well, is that when you post something, you post an announcement, you can timestamp it or release it at a certain time. I would love to see that feature added to iTunes U, as if it's kind of like a reminder, almost like a egg timer kind of effect or something like that, to say, hey, tomorrow this is due at this time or whatever. I think that's something else I'm going to do a better job of.
Right.
And I think,
and we're both going to do that.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure.
And what we're realizing is, as teachers, we need to not only be the students in traditional education, whether these millennial learners are ready for the flipped classroom or not, in theory, they've received a traditional education, which is for the most part not a flipped classroom. And so they haven't been asked to do this extreme time management, make a schedule and do these things by these times. And so that's why we have to create these detailed schedules for them.
That's a great point. K through 12, they're in such a traditional mode of education. That,
in most cases, depending on where you go to school. But usually time management outside of the class is not stressed.
Indeed. So we'll have them redo the informative speeches, and I think we've already, from what we've seen of the videos, they're a lot better. I think they've really grasped in terms of what we're looking at for them to do so far from what we've seen. Yeah. Right. And then after that, we'll do persuasives, and we'll let you know the progress on that. So we'll see you next week.
See you then.